Hello everyone, welcome to this session. I'm Deepak Kumar. In this session, I'm covering data manipulations using ASP.NET. This session basically continues from the previously built sessions where we discussed about creating ASP.NET public and private pages. So we will use the same project template to further extend upon integrating database connectivity and introducing database or data manipulation uh, in your ASP web form pages using different kind of ADO components like data sets, data source controls, and other form of connectivity. So let's begin this session. Now, what we have done, just to give a little context to this, we obviously have created some private pages under this staff menu. There is like a manager section, there's an admin section. So we will use this manager section to basically access some private pages that a manager would access in order to update details about some products, in order to look at some orders information that the system has captured, the customers have placed, and also to manipulate the prices of items. Uh, these are some of the requirements we will be taking as a use case scenario for demonstrating certain functionality that you can implement in your ASP.NET. So let's begin with that. So of course we log in, and these are private pages, so it will need the login. Once you log in, we are using this sample database bestbooks.com, basically, which is about books ordering and book sales. So here we have staff, and here we're going to click on manager section. So in manager section we have a small navigation menu where we have a section called book details that consists of the data in your database regarding books, information regarding books that the website is selling. We will look at order details processing, and we will also look at uh, updating the price of the book. So we will be looking at these three aspects in this session. So let's begin. First, we will be making sure that we have created the menu that I have shown up there. I think I did explain earlier in the previous session also. This menu basically is created by is created using the site master, and in the site master we are basically looking at kind of a navigational menu like you see here. So this is a menu that we are looking at. Probably you can add these entries to the menu right over there. Under this navigation bar, we have this information where the navigation bar is drop down, and obviously data toggle is drop down. So I shared that in the last slides we had. This code is over there, but also obviously it's here just to point it out. Where do you get the functionality of creating a drop down menu for your private pages. So here we have these private pages in this drop down menu listed as uh, manager section and admin section. Obviously you can add more items to it, and then of course in the hyperlink reference we will be having uh, you know putting them under the private folder. So you will see that in the path as well, that there's a private slash manager, there is a private slash admin, and all that. So similarly we will be creating all the pages that I have shown you, that we are intending to create for processing of the data, in this case data of a books database that we are using as a sample. So in that, for that process we will be obviously putting this pages, these ASP web form pages, under the private folder. So you will be obviously right clicking on private, clicking on add, and there you will be adding new private pages. So you will be using web form with master page, this option over here. So that is what we are using for the use of our private pages that we are using. Just for demonstration purpose, maybe I can add uh, another link there and use a fresh one, although we obviously have this with us, and we can use this as a demonstration, but let's do it from the beginning itself. So we will be creating a new web page, calling it as book details 2. We will be using the same site master that we have for this web page, for this website. And in the site master, I'll be creating a new link for this, and I'll be using it as this one, but here, sorry. Maybe I'll be putting it on the admin section, and we'll be using it for creating the new web page. So under this admin ASPX, I'll probably put a navigation menu, and over here we will be using this to create some items. This web page text, I'm calling it as book details, and the URL, navigation URL, here we are putting as book details 2. So this is the new ASP web form page that we have added to our private folder. We right clicked on the private folder and went to the add option and then selected the web form with master. So once you have selected web form with master, then it will pick up the template of the master, and that is what we are trying to do. Next thing is obviously we are putting our label in this menu, which is the called book details, and then we are navigating this menu option to book details 2 web page. So we have done this. Obviously, we need to add a few more items here. We will be adding another one as uh, order details. And for the purpose of that, we will be adding another uh, set of web form, another form that is going to be known as web details. Yeah, we'll call it as order details 2. We need another one. Let's call it update price. And the navigation URL will be update price 2. Of course, we will be creating these pages eventually. First, we will be working with the book details one. So here in book details one, what are we doing is basically is we are trying to create an interface which is something which I showed you earlier, which consists of basically a section, and for that purpose we will be using a div tag here. I'm using some of the pre-existing code that I've already used from this section for the div tag basically. So this is the sort of a div tag I'm using: style, border color, style, solid, and then width is going to be 100%. Eventually we'll be needing there will be a need to split our screens into probably two sections or different other sections, and then we will be using div tag to split our screens as well. So we have copied this into our this div section goes into your uh, ASP content page. So that is going to be in the ASP content page. Next thing we need to do is we need to put uh, a, a data component here, something to hold our data when we do any changes or anything. So we will be using a data grid control, which is called a grid view. So for that, uh, this is the sort of a tag that we have here. We will be putting up a h2 tag here to basically say this is our book details, and over here we go to the design, and then here we will be putting up a data grid. So as you can see, it's better to also put a paragraph tag there. You can just press enter and then put a data grid view. So here this data grid can be expanded to fill all the available area that you have, and this is where we have the book details. Next thing what we need to do is we need to configure a data source for this, and in order to do that we will be clicking on this and uh, adding a data source to this grid over here. So we need to select this grid and we need to click on this right expansion arrow, and here we see choose data source, which says none. We will be selecting a data source. The name of the data source is SQL data source 1. We can also give it a specific name. We call it as book ds1. Over here, if you have already created a connection string earlier, it will pick up that connection string for you, and or you can create a new connection string. Obviously that would need you to put in your path, server path. It will ask you to put your username and password, and after that you're good to go. So we're going to click on next. Here we will be using a books table. Obviously in this case we have already created a data structure which is uh, visible, and just give me one sec. I wanted to show you the data structure so we have a good idea what exactly we are trying to fetch data from. Database structure that we are using is going to be consisting of these four tables. We probably would expand further on this. One is obviously a books table, which has columns like book ID, book title, genre of the books, author, publisher, edition, ISBN number, price, and quantity. We have a table called customer, which contains the customer details, cust ID, first name, last name, date of birth, phone, email, city, and address. We have an order table that consists of columns like order number, order date, order amount, and customer ID. Customer ID here is the foreign key. And we have a table called order line, which basically consists of fields like order number, book ID, price, and the units that have been bought. So this is the same structure that I used for demonstrating the other tutorials on Crystal Report invoice creation. I hope you have gone through it. So we will be using the same database structure over here as well. So that is why we have this book table and we have all the fields. We can basically make a selection of the fields that we like. Here we are basically going with all the fields that we have at the moment. Okay, so here we have We will be using all the fields, although we can use selective fields as well. So either you can have a selection of fields, or you can click on obviously this select all from the table, and that is what we need at the moment. We will be uh, we have the options to configure a lot of options here, which we will be exploring in coming examples, where we have a where clause, where you can specify the parameter values or any SQL expression for the where clause of query. You have order by, and you also have advanced. In advanced, obviously you have the option of generating insert, update, and delete statements. In this case, we will be using uh, you know we will be using some statements, or we might be simply looking at uh, yes, of course we can use update and delete statement, and then this option will allow us to insert new values. It will also allow us to update the existing values and obviously delete from our table that we map using this SQL data set that we are creating right now, and using the grid that basically will be uh, you know basically connected, or that will be the grid that will be attached to the SQL dataset adapters. So here we will be using generate, insert, update, and delete statements, and also optimistic concurrency statements. This is to control concurrency. So if there are simultaneous updates happening in the table, this obviously would lock the records for the time when a particular user is not releasing the data set. So this helps us for concurrency control, which obviously is achieved by database locking. So you can select that as well. I'm going to click next. You can test your query. Since we have selected all the records, we'll see all of our records are available to us. And we're going to click on finish. Next, what we have seen here is that automatically our data source is being loaded into the page. So your page is automatically having object of data source. This is a book data source that we have created just now, and it has been loaded into your web forms automatically as a hidden component. So it is present there, although you can also manually drag and drop your data sources. There's an option here, SQL data source, where you can drag and drop your SQL data source onto your web form design view, and that obviously will also link that data source to that web form, or you can utilize that data source into that web form for data access. So here this all has automatically happened, because once we have clicked on data source configuration as I demonstrated to you, and the data source is now available to us. Next thing we will do is we will obviously click on uh, uh, you know uh, we will enable we can enable sorting if we like. We can do sorting. We can enable editing. We can enable deleting. I'm avoiding deleting because I don't want to delete any master record from my master table, because I will be having child records in my child table. So I will be avoiding that, and I will be selecting enable selection. So these are the functionalities which will allow you to manipulate your data source and manipulate the data that is being presented by the grid view on your you know your ASP web form page. So once you have done that, we will first test this and of course uh, try to run this to see if your data is coming. So we have our data here in this grid. As you can see, we will try to neaten it up or try to make some aesthetic changes. Of course, it allows us to edit, and it also allows, I think I did had selection there. Let's see if the selection is available. Okay, I think yeah, we have update, cancel, and we have edit option here. So that is basically that allows us to uh, select and update values. We will do some more some more you know kind of neatening up of this grid uh, just now. So we will be doing some uh, improvements into this display uh, of this grid. One thing I would like to change here is to remove the sorting option and just enable uh, selection, because we need the selection there. I think there is a way to resize these columns where you can go and specify probably some sizes, but not I haven't played much with the grid location as such. Resizing the columns and all of that. You can definitely do that. Obviously, unfortunately, it doesn't allow you to do that. Uh, by just like you do in any like a word or any, what you see is what you get kind of environment where you can simply drag and change the table sizes, grid sizes. So here that is not simply possible, but you can definitely go and specify the sizes by using I think some parameters over there. I think probably it will support some different parameters over there. So what we will do here is we will obviously look at one of the useful option here is the auto format. In auto format, you have some color schemes given to you. One thing that works best is I think you may have a little bit of a selection problem with some schemes, like it probably changes the font color to the reverse, and if you have a white background, obviously you will see that your text is invisible. So try and avoiding some of them. I think this one sand and sky did that to me, but that what works perfectly is this classic one or the professional ones. These are, I think, fine. Simple ones and all of that is fine. So you can use the classic one here, which I'm using, and of course, it doesn't give you any trouble. So once you do that, you'll see that the table rows are uh, stratified, and you see that there's a nice title and then highlight on the right on the the column headings. Of course, you can go to the edit columns, and there you can also edit the field titles as you would like to. So this is possible. Uh, you can do that. I will now demonstrate this output to you. Let's save it and run it. So now you see we have a better layout. This is looking more presentable as it was earlier. Uh, you can of course select a particular uh, item, like here a particular book, and you can edit as well. Of course, it allows you to delete and update. Editing itself is like updating. So you can edit and update the data into this grid. Obviously, the selection, we will be using it further. So to kind of generate, expand more on the details that I will cover up in next step. So this is what we have here. You can see that we are getting our ID, book title, genre, authors, publishers, edition, ISBN numbers, and price. There's a problem with the price here. As you can see, the price is basically showing up, four, decimal places, which obviously is not very presentable. So we will try and sort this out as well. For that, we will be going to the, obviously we have made a selection of the grid. So we will be heading towards the properties of this grid view, and we'll go to the column property here and the collection property. In the collection property, obviously we see all the columns. We will select the column that we need to format, and that is the price. Sorry, I think I have done some. I'll select the price, and in this price column we will put a data format string over here. So the data format string that will be used here will be 0 colon C2 curly braces. I guess I paused the video and forgot to replay it. So I will be just repeating this section again, this step again. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to change the format for the price field into South African rand displayed format, as well as displayed with comma separated decimal places. So in order to do that, we selected the grid first, we went to the columns property, we clicked on collection, and after that we went to the price field. In the price field, especially in the behavior section, or rather in the data section, we have a property called data format string. And here in this property, we will put a format between curly braces. It's also, I think, referred to as French braces. I normally call them as curly braces, with a format of 0 colon C2. So this is your currency format that you will be putting up here. Once you have it here, then your price column will be formatted into currency. And once we uh, run this, we will see that our data is formatted in currency format. So it has a rand symbol, of course, it has a comma separated decimal places, and this is exactly what we are trying to achieve in this format. So what we basically did here in this section, we were able to create a data grid view, and in this grid view, we were able to connect that with a data source. We obviously clicked here and created a new data source first. Obviously, we gave a name to the data source. What else we did? We enabled editing in this grid. Obviously, there are other options also that suits our purposes: enable editing and enable selection. So these are two functional behaviors that we need in order to work with a grid and change the data, manipulate the data. So we have selected these two, and after that, the other change we did was, of course, with the uh, after we added all the columns, we obviously use the wizard to create a data source, and after that, we were able to uh, I'm just repeating this data source step for you just to show that what we have done. We have selected all the columns in this case, and then we went to advanced, and we selected the generate, insert, update, and delete statements, and we used also the use optimistic concurrency control, which obviously should be selected in case we are modifying or deleting any data. That means we are doing an update on the data. So we did that, and after that, obviously, we did finish. We can test the query, and we can obviously click on finish. So that is these are steps we carried out. Apart from applying some formatting through the auto format, and I use that classic scheme in order to apply it onto the grid. Also, next thing we did was we changed the format uh, of our table to our grid format rather, to display the price in two decimal places. So this is what we did, and after that we of course got this kind of output, and this is what we are expecting. So uh, we will obviously use other form of manipulations in coming time. What is important here is that this particular sort of a database access is under controlled under access control measures. That means it is under private pages. So here we have put this under either a manager section or an admin section. To display this, I put it under admin section because I was testing it under manager section earlier. And now we created a navigation menu, and we clicked on book details. So obviously this is accessible only through the controlled login. Without that, you won't be able to access it. So if you log off, you won't be able to access uh, you know and it will ask you to specify the login, and then only it will allow you to give access to the pages that we are expecting. So in next step, we will further expand onto this database specifically for the order table manipulations. So let's do that. In the next step, we will be doing some data manipulations with uh, order table and order line item table. So for that purpose, we will be using two separate grids to show data from two different tables. So for that purpose, we will be again going to the Solution Explorer and right clicking and adding a new web form with master page. And we will call this master page as order details 2. We'll use the same site master for the website, and that gives us a blank page just like this, which has a ASP content ID tab. If you go to the design view, you will see that this is the tab that you have here. Here you can add a div tag as well as maybe a h2 tag to uh, specify what exactly this web page is all about. So this web form is to show orders data and order line items data to us. So after that, we will be adding a div tag here, and I've also added one label if it is needed. I'm not sure, but yes, I've added one label to say that we have order details here. This div tag is with a width of 50. So basically, we still have space left for creating another div tag, and we will be using that to specify the uh, other detail. So we will close this div tag here, and after that we will add another div tag to it. So this is how it looks in this section. In another section, as I said, we will be adding another div tag, and probably here we will be giving a width a little bit lesser, 45%, and this will be order line details that we will be having in this. Of course, we can also put a yes. That I think that's good enough. So we will be having a bit of a structure here, just like we have it. Now in this structure, we will be adding two data grids, uh, grid views. So this is grid view 1, and in this grid view 1, we will be creating obviously two different data sources also, because we are fetching data from two different sources, two different tables. So we will be creating a new data source. The name we're giving here is order bs 1 or anything. We need to select an existing connection string, and over here we will be selecting our order table. Now here we have to use some parameters in order to uh, create some sort of joins that we need to create to display the data the way we want to. So here we will be clicking on the where clause, and we will be adding a key field here which will provide us the parameter value that we need. So order number is equal to, and the source of this will be the control that we have. So control will be grid view 1, and we will add this to so whenever we're going to do a a selection in the grid, the parameter that will be returned in the SQL expression will be the order number. We'll click OK, and we'll click next. Of course, we can also specify generate insert, update, and delete statements. So we can also select that, click on next. When you're going to test the query, obviously we'll see that we won't be able to see the output because this will be based on the selection that we have made. And click on finish. Again, we will apply auto format here, like classic. and we'll try and do other things also later on. So this is what we have, and when we will execute this, one thing we want to do here is in this grid that we there is some problem here. There have been some issue here. We'll look at our data source again. So let's go to the data source again and then try and look at it. I think just for the time being, we will simply remove this, and we will simply try and display all our data from the table. Tester query, say finish, and here we will probably only select, we will only enable selection because that's basically what we want. We don't want to edit anything because these are captured orders. There is no point of changing anything in this order table. So we will just select enable selection, and after that we will uh, test it. Okay, now here we do have data in our table, where we have order number, order date. We see there's a problem with our order date. Our order date also has a time sort of a format being displayed. Obviously, there's no time in the database, so it's just displaying 0000 for hours, minutes, and seconds. So we need to get rid of that as well. Also, we need to format our order amount. Again, we have the same old issue that we had, and we had a customer ID here, customer ID. Now, what do we want basically is the customer ID here we have is not much helpful because we still don't know who this customer is. Obviously, it's very difficult to work with customer IDs if you have a very large list of customers in your database. So we will also sort this out. And after that, the idea is that we should be able to select a particular record or a particular order, and we should be able to see the order line items for that order. So that is basically the idea behind this design that we are creating. So we will obviously try and achieve that. In order to achieve that, we will go to the data source again and configure this data source with a query rather. So while we just did, you know, we simply used a specific column, a table, and we selected all the columns and we displayed it as it is. But we want to, of course, display our data in a more meaningful form, and we need to have customer details displayed here. So for that purpose, we will click on advanced. Where was that? No, we would rather use the custom SQL statement. So we will select the custom SQL statement or a stored procedure. Of course, this can also be executed in the form of a stored procedure call. You can create a stored procedure which will have the same query uh, specification that you are creating here. Stored procedures allow you to give more efficiency and more security because they are executed on the server itself. So if they are executed on the server, they'll be executing fast. Second thing is they'll be more secure because no data travels between the client and the server. So most of the details are already hidden and only the output obviously goes into the system. So any of the parameters or any values that are supplied to the server, to the SQL server, are all basically abstracted from the end user. So that is the benefit of having it. So we are selecting the, but we are not covering stored procedure right now. What we are doing is we are creating a custom SQL statement. Sorry, and here we will be putting up a query with the inner join. So what do we have with this query? We have a selection of field from two tables. One is order, another is customer. So here we have order table aliased as O dot order number, comma, O dot order date, comma, O dot order amount, comma, and then we have customer table aliased as C, and then we have C dot customer name, that is basically here C dot cust F name, that's how the table name is, the field name of the table is C dot cust L name, that is the last name column. From the table order O inner join with customer C aliased as C, and the join is on C dot cust ID, that is the primary key of customer, with O dot cust ID, which is the foreign key in the customer table. So this is our syntax for the query, and we're going to click next. We will test this query, and now you see that as part of this query with inner join, we have more meaningful details. we have the customer name and customer first name and last name rather than having customer ID displayed here. So we're going to click on finish. And let's execute it. So now we have more meaningful data in our table as we have got it here. I think I did forget to use that selection option, but that's fine. We will still do that. Of course, we'll need to still uh, put the formats for the date and time over here, which we will do just now. Since we changed the data source property, data source configuration, then we see that our selection behavior has been was removed. So we will select that. Second thing is we will be going to the, after doing the selection of the grid, we will go to the columns collection property, and here we will change the order date to a specific format, which I also don't remember. Just give me one sec. So we're going to columns and collection, and we're going to order date, and in the order date we will be putting up a data format string for order date, which is in the curly braces. It goes like this: 0 colon, and then you have the date format, which is a short date format. So of course this can be changed to the date that you prefer. uh, we're going to try maybe another M there for a longer date format, and after that we will be executing it. Order amount, of course, that also needs to be fixed. That format is quite simple: C2 curly braces close. This is in curly braces. So we will save it and execute. We'll run the solution. So now we have a data shown up in a specific date format. I did change the date format to like DD YY, which shows the month, not as numerical value, but more of a the month name. Then we have the order amount, and then we have the customer name. Of course, you can also change the titles, the headings of this, uh, uh, the columns that can also be changed. Now we will obviously use the next step to pick up the value, the selected value from here, and show the order line details for those items that we have selected. Now for that purpose, we will be putting up another grid here. We have to create another data source for this. We call it order line DS. Here we have to configure some parameters basically to obtain the where clause from the another table. So we will be selecting our order line table. In order line table, we will be displaying data which is going to be selectively filtered based on the order number that we will obtain uh, from the orders table. So here we will configure the where clause, where the column obviously is order number, and order number will be equal to, and we will have a source here, and the source obviously is going to be the order number from the uh, grid view 1 that we created earlier. So we created a grid view and we will be using that as a source here. So we will be picking up the order number from the grid view 1, and using it, and the selected value of that grid view 1, as you can see over here, will be our parameter, and that parameter will become the SQL parameter for filtering the data from order line table. So we will add this, click OK. Of course, this obviously cannot be tested without running it. So we'll click on finish, and try to run it now. So once we select our particular order number, we see that our order number, order line details are visible in this grid here. So here also, if you wish, you can definitely make it more meaningful by not displaying the book ID, rather than using the same query and inner join. You can create a inner join between order line and the book table, and display the book information more in detail. You can display the book title, you can display the author name, you can display the ISBN number, publisher, all details that you want. You can basically display it over here. All right, we were supposed to uh, make some changes to this order line details table to make it more meaningful. And in order to do that, uh, we need to reconfigure the data source. So earlier we had just a generic you know query there to say select all from order line, which gives you different fields like, here's a order line table, which simply gives you a field like order number, book ID, price, and units. Now if we want more details about the books, we want to know the book title, because book ID 5 doesn't really tells us what exactly it is. Probably we need details like book title, book author, book publisher. Then we have to modify our a query. We cannot just go with a simple generic select all kind of table. So we need to create a query with the inner join, and for the purpose of doing that, we can we can use specific SQL statements as we have done here. We can use specify SQL statements, and we will obviously construct a query here. We can also use a query builder to build a query. Query builder is very helpful to sometimes figure out what fields we are missing, what we need to put in there. So this is our query builder. As you can see, uh, I rather prefer to write down the query, but you can probably try and verify this with the query builder later on, that if you have the syntax correct or you don't have the syntax correct. One thing you have to include is that the primary key should be included at least in one of the table joins. So since we are joining this table based on book ID, so what we are doing is we are saying we have a books table, and obviously the books table is being aliased as book B here, as you can see. So we have a book table which is aliased as B, right? And we need to select the primary key field. In fact, I just ran into errors once. I didn't do it. I thought we can skip it, but we cannot. Book ID has to be selected. We have selected book title. Of course, this is where we have written the query, and we have selected author and publisher. So you can see we have book table aliased as B. So we have b dot book ID. We have b dot book type title, comma, and of course we have b dot book author, and we have comma. Don't forget the commas after every ending of field, and then we have b dot book publisher, b dot publishers, and then we have the order line table aliased as O, so we have order number. uh, this is going to be the query parameter we will be use. Then we have O dot price, we have O dot units, and we have it from order line aliased as O, inner join with books aliased as B on the primary foreign key relationship mentioned as b dot book id is equal to o dot book id. So this is the syntax we need to remember. Uh, Here the query builder can help you to construct that what are the fields we have, and we can obviously drag and drop these fields or select the fields right from two tables that we have created here, and then we can selectively have the fields from these tables, right? So our query builder will automatically build the query for us if we are doing a field selection in this case. After that you have done, obviously the filter here or the parameter here is going to be the parameter which we have created as at the rate order number. Now this parameter here picks the value from the grid that we have on the other side from the order table. So order table selection will populate this order number into this parameter here. We can test, and this becomes the the where clause here. So where order number O dot order number, O is obviously our order number order line table. O dot order number is equal to the parameter order number. This parameter order number obviously generates from the order table that we have in the other grid view. You can also execute this query. You can give a parameter value to see if it works. So order number parameter is given 2, and you can see that we are getting results below here. So we are getting some book IDs, some book details coming up here, and we are also getting the book title, book author, and publisher for the order number 2, as you can see right over here. So once your query has been executed successfully, you can be quite sure that your program will execute. Although the query was running earlier, but I had a problem with, I didn't include the book ID, which is a primary key here when we are creating a join. So it gave me the error on missing field primary key. So that has to be included into it. Of course, we have picked up this parameter order number from grid view 1, select uh, value uh, behavior, select value event rather. So the selected value event, that means once we select make a selection on the grid view 1, which obviously contains the data from order table. This will provide us the parameter order number, and obviously the parameter source is the control source. The control ID is grid view 1, so you have to make these selections, don't forget them. So parameter source has to be selected, grid view ID, whatever the control ID is, whichever the control is generating this parameter has to be selected, and after that you can click next. You can test your query again. Since this is a parameterized query, it's basically looking for a parameter value. You can try and give it one and see if it gives you an output. Yes, for order number 1 you are getting the details that you are expected to. You finish, and after that you can save and run your yes, I would also like to, before I execute, I would also like to auto format this, provided a nice format. It looks better, more organized with the formatting, and we can of course run it. The other issue we will probably face is yes, that we have a price field here. Let us also put a format for the price field as well, uh, before we move on. So select the columns collection, go to the price field and put your uh, data format string there, which is a curly brace, a 0, and after that it's a colon, and it's C2, and curly braces close. Okay. So once we have done that, we are ready to save and execute our project. So here we are. Once we select a particular selection, now we see that we are getting, of course, we can use div tags to realign them properly. We can create a better alignment of these two data grids that we have. But the point here is that once we make a selection, the order number parameter is taken from this selected value behavior event, and then that becomes a parameter for this order line tables to display. But since now we have created a custom query with the inner join with books table, now rather than simply having a book ID, we are able to display more details in this table. As you can see, we are able to display the book title, we are able to display the author name, we are able to display the publisher name, and obviously which makes it more meaningful data for us rather than just displaying IDs. So this is customization, some data customizations you need to do in your projects to make it a more meaningful, more illustrative, in order to see the data and make more sort of decisions out of that data if you have proper values being displayed. So this gives you the user convenience. The user, obviously, end user would like to see the details rather than seeing the IDs only on the screen, or some numeric values which obviously cannot be interpreted what exactly they represent. So if there is a book ID 3, probably I don't would not remember that book ID 3 represents principles of information security, and who's the author or whatever else information is relevant can also be displayed here. Of course, this grid has to be sort of resized, or this div tag has to be resized, because our units are basically not being displayed properly. Of course, we need to slightly adjust this also. The unfortunate part is that you cannot resize these columns simply, and you have to work quite hard with them with the column size, I guess, if you want to get the proper output. So here we have the width for this column. Say for example, 552 pixels. For the order number, I'm reducing it to uh, Yeah, to probably 100 pixels. Similarly, with the uh, book ID, uh, this book ID, I don't know. I don't know if this width is being taken by. Okay, looks like no. This is not taking. The problem is it's not the individual width that we are getting here. It's basically the whole width of the whole this thing. Sorry, yeah, the width of the whole grid that is being changed. Yeah, it's not a. I don't think it's the column width. The key names column book ID. We actually see if we have selected this. Let's try it. 100 pixels. So I think auto resize is not working with that. Then uh, not sure if this is working. I'm also testing it for the first time. Let's run it and see what comes out. Okay, so still you can see there is a bit of a issue here. Of course, not sure if the looks like it does take a width property, but you have to select individual column and specify width, and then you also have to select the whole grid and specify the width first. So you would rather specify the width first for the whole grid, and after that probably you would be able to uh, manage uh, the overall width that you have. So I've increased the div tag a little bit. Plus I've also increased the grid width to see if it works, and looks like still there are no there is a little missing of the column. So what you have to do is you have to, of course, try and work out the uh, the grid values uh, specifically. uh, uh, that's not the table I have. So this is the other details design view. uh, Again, as we see that we have to adjust the grids, the div tags, and basically uh, the grid tags over here. So that's going to be a little uh, sort of a work that we have to perform. So still we have a little bit of a issue. So uh, I'm rather dropping one table here, one column here rather. So I'm selecting this publisher column and dropping it because looks like all copies what I have done here. I think yes. Let's see if I can drop the publisher table here, publisher column here. I guess my other columns are still intact. Save it and run it. Even after that, I'm still having a little bit of a problem here. Obviously, you can play with the sizes and all of these things, and you can definitely work it out. I've also dropped the author table here just to get a desired output. Although you can definitely have them, overlapped as well, or rather, we're trying to put them side by side. That is obviously creating an issue, and also since our uh, uh, the site master that we have used also have these margins on the both sides. So now we are also getting units. So this column obviously was a challenge to achieve, but yes, you can put them side by side. You can put them like in a vertical arrangement as well. There's no big deal about it. It's just that we wanted to demonstrate that you know it looks sort of better. Of course, you can realign these columns so they kind of show a continuity, like an expanded view to when you're selecting um, any of the details of the order line items. So when you select the order, obviously you're going to see the details coming up right here. So this alignment can be further improved. Of course, I won't have time for that. And let's move to the next section where we will be updating the price value of the book prices that we have. So let's go for that right now. Just 1 second. Now, in order to update the price, we have to create another private page. We will call this as update price to. Probably that's the name we entered into the navigation menu already. Again, we select the site master that we have for the website. Here, as you can see, uh, you can create a H2 tab here, update price. After that, use a div tag. Probably I'll copy paste one of the existing ones that I already have. So we have created a div tag here. In fact, we don't need this p paragraph tag. So div tag alignment is equal to center. But what we can do is we can put this right in this div tag here. And see how this looks. Maybe this h2 can also go into the div tag. So we will have a sort of a this kind of uh, a field over here. Update movie. Obviously, we have the book prices here. Then we want to change the book prices, update the book prices by an amount. So we want to basically put an amount, and we want to rather change it, like increase all the book prices with that amount. So that is basically the idea. Next thing we need to do is we need to add a button here. So you have added a button here. This button obviously uh, means prices. What we need to do here is we need to drag and drop a data source that we need to configure. So we need to drag and drop a SQL data source, which obviously will show up, just like in the bottom here. And uh, this data source has to be configured just like we have configured it so far all the time. So we will select, yes, of course, we will select the books table. We can also click on advanced and click on generate, insert, update, but we have to delete many statements actually that will be generated, that we will see out of this thing. So we still have to uh, look at what kind of statements we are getting here. So in update statements, of course, uh, I think let us get the, or we can directly type the update statements. So all we have to do is uh, we have to specify the update statements for the book table here. This obviously provides us different statements. We can try and just do that first, and after that go to the configuration, go to next, and check the query builder again, which obviously comes when you click on the SQL statements option. And here in query builder, let's see what statements we get in the update first. In the update, you see we have huge number of statements. All we need is we need to update the book, and we need to set the book price to the price that we have. So either we can simply type the command, which obviously will be uh, generated, by the update book set, or we can simply just type the command here. We don't even need so much of information. So what we need is we need to update the book, set the price is equal to original price or price. We don't even need uh, so much of information. We just need to have price is equal to original price, or rather, uh, we can go to the query builder and specify it. Will of course give us some error here because our statement is incomplete. Let's go to the query builder and simply say price is equal to uh, update book set price is equal to price plus at the rate for price parameter. So we have a price parameter which obviously we will get, and we need to update book set price is equal to uh, uh, simply price is equal to price plus price. So this is it. This is our update statement. We need to go to the update query. In fact, so query seems to okay. That's the test query. Now we'll go to the back. So the first thing where exactly we are working is we are working with this data source that we have, and we are working with the update query property of this data source. So update query property of this data source, this is what we are setting it up to with the update command. We can use the query builder also uh, if we find that comfortable. So we have update books and set price is equal to price into parameter of the price that we have. We do seems to have one error somewhere. Price is equal to price into price update. So we have set books.price. Let's check that again. So what I'm trying to do here is in this SQL data source that we have, I've changed the name also to update data source, configure data source. Next, just go to the SQL statement and just in the update tab here, just set the update statement simply to update books set price is equal to price plus at the rate price. Now this is the parameter price that we will be getting uh, from the data source that we have just configured. Next thing is after selecting this data source, going to the update query property of this data source, click on the expansion tab there. We see that our update command is already present here. Next thing we need to do is we need to add a parameter. There's already one parameter added. You can of course add a new one, or if you want to remove it, there's one parameter which has been added here. And how do you add the parameter? You go to the parameter source, click on control. Now the field we had, the text field that we added here, that text field is basically the name of that text field here is update text, is basically txt update, uh, update date. I don't know how that name came up here, but we can obviously remove it. We can say add parameter. Parameter name would be control. So we've added a parameter text update here, and of course we have selected the control, and the control ID is text update. We click on OK, and we'll try and execute it to see if it works. Yes, we are forgetting one thing. We need to also add SQL data source dot update command here on this button. Update prices. This button here, of course, needs to. That's basically the button we are trying to. Prices. It's called button one. So button one. Click will be update ds dot update. Let's see if this works for us. Okay, we are entering an amount here to update the prices that we have here. Of course, we can even check them directly by our uh, pages that we have. We click on book details. We see that the price of one of the books, like Introduction to C Sharp, is 210. Who Moved My Cheese is 130. So maybe we can pick up the last one here just to verify if the prices are working. So again, going to the admin section, click on update price, adding 20 rand increase to all the prices, update prices, and looks like we have a error here. So let's see. Yes, the error that we have here is basically uh, due to the fact that we have to overwrite our values. I think one of the values here, one of the parameters here uh, needs to be, one of the parameters here called conflict detection has to be set to override. Conflict detection here is set to compare all values. Now this has to be set to override changes. So after making that change, let's try again. We're checking our prices first. The book Who Moved My Cheese is 130 rands. Update price, update it to by 20 rands. Since we didn't get any error this time, let's hope it worked. Sorry, book details. So we see that our price has changed from 130 to 150, and so has the prices changed with all the books that we had. So we were able to increase the price for all the books by 20 rands, and that was the objective. So this is the demonstration that we have. The main thing you have to keep that in mind is that we have to add a new data source. Of course, we have to add a text field. We have to add a button. In the data source, you have to, you know, go to. You can obviously use query builder by specifying, configure data source and then using the same query builder or data string, or you can even use the all the columns, but that will give you a list of columns. All you have to do is you have to delete all the data that you have there, and you just have to keep the, you can keep the price and old price datas. Even the old, sometime it generates a original price field. You can keep that. That is no big problem. I never had an issue earlier. I actually kept it, and this worked. But this time I just removed it, and this time I simply just kept it based on where the update was. Update book set the price is equal to price plus the parameter, at the rate price value. And after that, you would go to the update query tab here, click on the expanded menu, and here you will add a parameter. So in fact, this parameter gets automatically added, I think. Once you select, you click on add parameter, yes. You select on the source here, the source control, uh, and the control ID will be the name of the text field that you have. So the text field will be the new parameter here, as we say. Of course, you can give it a name, whatever you want to give it. So the parameter will come from text update. This is the name of the text field that we have, and that is basically which gives you the parameter. So this parameter is obviously getting the value from the this text update field that we have added to our interface. So the name of the field has to be mentioned here. Once it is there, it adds the value to the original price here. So the price field is added by the new price value. So it's a kind of a updation. It's not actually changing the price exactly to that. And you have to update the price, which means you have to use the plus. You have to use the original price, which is by in the price field, plus the parameter that is being picked up from the update text field that we have added to our interface. So after you have done that, of course, this is a duplication. I'm removing it. I don't need that, but we have added the price parameter here, as you can see. So once you have done this, you will be good to go. Next thing you have to do is you have to double click on the button that you have, and you have to add a command here, update data source name, whatever the data source name is. If you have left it default, it will be uh, SQL data source 1 or whatever the name is, and the update command has to be mentioned here. Next thing is to change the uh, after selecting the data source, you need to change the conflict detection to override changes. So you have to change the conflict detection to override changes. So once you have done that, you will be good to go, and you will be definitely able to execute this successfully and change your prices directly. The other thing is you can also use a direct command in SQL query builder, as we have seen there. So update the prices, uh, go to the admin section, book details, and we see that the price has gone to 160 here now. And this price of the first book has Bhagavad Gita has gone to 140, and so the other prices have also have been updated. So we can update the prices in a batch by this, or you can individually also select and update the prices. Well, it depends how you want to do it. Of course, uh, since this grid has this uh, functionality where you can select a particular book, like say for example, I'm selecting the last one, to move my cheese, click on edit, and I can change the title here, and also I can change the price also for this. So as you can see right over here, I can change the price to, say for example, I just want to change this individual price to 170. So this grid can definitely be used to edit and update your data directly as well. So that's another thing. But if you want to do a batch update like we did, that is why we created that kind of interface to do a batch update. So that was all for this. You can also use direct commands for just putting up that into your data source. So what you would do is you can straight away you specify the data source, you can specify table adapter. You are aware of these commands because we have used these commands directly into the these commands have directly been used when we created that crystal report invoice interface, and we created some classes, dataset classes. So these commands can also be directly used to uh, fill in your data sets. As you can see here, uh, the command obviously is for the data set first, then table adapter, then fill command is there for table adapter, and then there is a for each loop to get the data rows from the table. So data source dot table name, that obviously gives the data source data rows back, and then you would select the data row, each data row movie price. So here data row dot movie price plus is equal to, and then you are converting. Of course, you need to convert this to decimal because your text update field will only provide you the text string type values. So once we have converted that into it, this is a concatenation operator, as you are aware of it. It means that obviously you are adding the value to the existing value of your field movie price. Field movie price will obviously get incremented by the text field that you have, and then you can use the command table adapter dot update and specify the dataset name straight away there. So this commands can also be directly used. Where you want to put this command directly, obviously you will be putting this directly into the uh, uh, into the CS file, the C# file over here. So as you are aware, this is the file. If you go to the CS file over here, that is where you can put this command directly on page load, just like that. Although I'm kind of putting it as a comment at the moment. uh, I'm putting it as a comment, but you can directly use this command uh, to also run it, rather than going through all the steps that I have explained to you. So this is your direct command, direct coding command, and sometimes they are a little bit. It depends on you whether you find them more tedious or less tedious. I actually find them less tedious, rather than going and configuring the controls in many stages. But it completely depends on you, so how you feel more comfortable, and you need to practice this enough, because this is very very important from your practical test point of view as well. uh, and these tutorials need to be practiced quite a few times to get a good grasp of what is happening. So I will definitely suggest you to practice it a few times. So on that note, thank you very much, and signing off. I will post this tutorial as well as the project code on the Learn site, and you'll find it. Take care. Bye bye.